And I think we are live. It is January 9, 2025. It's the Down Beach Buzz podcast covering Margate, Ventnor, Longport. We even get into Lower Chelsea, Atlantic City, Brigantine, a little bit of Summers Point, sometimes Ocean City. All depends what's happening here in the Down Beach area. The Down Beach Buzz podcast with Sherry Lilienfeld. What do you need? Buy, sell, lease, commercial, residential, Ventnor, Margate, Longport, Brigantine. Reach out to Sherry at EXP Realty. And this guy, he needs no introduction.
Money moves like a tick-tock. Paul Z always on the clock. Master of finance in his prime, turning pennies into dimes. Paul Z from rate.com, crunching numbers like a math bomb. Magic, he's got the knack, turning loans with a click-clack.
Yeah.
Turning loans with a click-clack.
So Paul now has his own introduction song because he was a bit jealous about Sherry.
Her name is Sherry, super real estate pro. Sherry, super duper realtor to the stars, real estate pro.
There you go.
Look at that, man.
Super realtor.
I used the word super duper in describing Sherry Lilienfeld. That's the way, you got to really talk down to your audience, I guess, a little bit, Anyway, so it's a Down Beach Buzz podcast. We have some good stories, and then some of the stuff we won't have time for. But did the Ventnor Planning Board protect St. Leonard's Tract, the deed restrictions last night at their planning board meeting? I don't know, because they don't provide any live audio, so beats my you-know-what. Pickle Juice, we got some good stuff happening there. Tropicana finally getting on board with the anti-wind thing, etc. And I think I want to show you this slide over here. If I can figure it out. I'll hit play. These are some of the topics we may or may not cover, and then these guys will cut me off, and I'll bring this up on the slideshow here. One moment, please. Y'all set?
Check.
So no need to comment. Just I'm going to throw it out here to see if people will comment. So people can comment now on the Down Beach Buzz podcast as we are live. So feel free to comment. We might, let me see here. We might talk about revaluations. They're coming. They're looming. That means you could be paying more or less, or maybe paying the same amount in taxes. Baglivo. Pretty soon we'll find out whether there's 6 or 12 units in that apartment complex. Like I said earlier, did they subdivide? Did they start the process of slicing up all those awesome classic tracts in St. Leonard's, the St. Leonard's Tract in Ventnor? Everybody's trying to subdivide, squeeze more housing, higher density. The master plan, there's talk of these towns wanting to, they have to come up with a master plan every 5 or 10 years, in essence. Short-term rentals, the Zoom ban, people still banning the Zoom live video thing. Zombie homes, I call them zombie homes. People are buying up homes but not using them because they're a storage of value they appreciate. Why not use them like gold or silver, I guess? But, there's a downside to zombie homes. Affordable housing. I got some fresh new numbers. Just wait till you see what the state of New Jersey wants Ventnor and Longport and Margate to build in regards to affordable housing. The fines. How many fines were levied against developers who kind of broke the rules? Did they pay those fines? How about inspections? We need more inspectors. We got so much construction going on. There's a beach party deck. I love beach party decks right there at the toe of the dune. For the past 4 years, they've been told by the New Jersey DEP to get it out of there. You're not allowed to build there. Even the city of Margate knows about it, but lets it slide. So we think that everybody with a beachfront property should take full advantage of all that state land, because it looks like it might be okay to do that. The gas station update, I think that's embarrassing. They haven't purchased it yet to turn it into a parking lot. Why did Tom Collins, the mayor's father, step down so quick from the planning board? And where is Jim Galantino? He's a construction official. After 30 years, he wanted to step down. So what's going on there? Nobody really knows. It's kind of weird. And I think that'll be good for now. So maybe right now we'll talk about some of this stuff. That's a lot of stuff. But we don't.
That's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
We don't have. Okay, you didn't. As you were multitasking, I kind of wanted to let you know these are the topics that at least I could think of that were interesting, but you decide which ones you want to touch on. But right now, why doesn't Paul Scollage, the former star a professional soccer player for the South Jersey Barons and the Detroit Rockers. Is that correct, Paul?
Money moves like a tick-tock.
I like
were
this one.
you were
This
a
is great.
soccer-
I want to
you
walk in
did-
with this.
You played
Yes,
soccer before this, and you were selling mobile and cellular. You have
Selling-
quite a varied
That's
background.
right. I was selling wireless cell phones to the government and kicking the ball around, which was always fun. But as you get older now, as I'm dealing with a meniscus tear, so note to self: be careful with sports. But it's such a wild roller coaster. I feel like it's a broken record. I don't know. I would tell you every time that I spoke last year, I was talking about interest rates and the potential decline that we're going to see. The Fed talks about cutting rates over the last 2.5 years. It's probably the most volatile market that I've ever seen in the industry over my 17-year career. Once you think that rates are moving in the right direction, something happens, right? So I talked about it before last week, last month. Powell spoke about having, instead of having 4 rate cuts in 2025, he's only going to have 2 rate cuts in 2025. So what that did is that it put fear in the market. Even though that they had a rate cut in December, it had a negative impact on rates. Rates are still on the incline. The 10-year Treasury is what we trade off, is at one of the highest points since April of last year. We're hovering around that 4.7 number. So, long term, I expect things to improve as we get into 2025, maybe midsummer or early fall. But it really hasn't slowed business down a ton. I think people are of the mindset, hey, I have to buy, whether it's a rate of 5.5% or a rate of 7%. Maybe they're just scaling back on what they can afford, but they're also in that mindset of, hey, I know eventually, I'm going to buy a house. Maybe it's a little bit out of my budget short term, but I know at some point I will be able to refinance out of this loan and get myself into something much more manageable. The other point that I talk about often is that when you're buying in this market with a higher interest rate, in some cases there could be less competition. So, don't be afraid to keep looking, and maybe you're $100 a month or $200 more a month than where you want to be, but you also have less competition, and it might give the opportunity to put yourself in a winning situation. Cash offers are still a lot of what we're seeing right now. Unfortunately, and more fortunately, people have to waive inspections to get properties. So there's a lot of unnecessary things that we've seen in markets over the years. But right now, it's if you want a house, you have to make adjustments in being able to get this. Should ARMs be considered? That's a great question. In some cases, ARMs are going to be more attractive than a 30-year fixed. However, if there's not a big variance between the two, going into that 30-year fixed security, some people want to have that option. The other side of it is if you're going into a 5-year ARM, and what that means is it's fixed for the first 5 years. In year 6, it can adjust twice a year. Knowing that the rates are going to come down, an ARM is definitely an option that we're seeing in some cases or more often than others. So, absolutely an ARM is something to look at.
Any thoughts there, Sherry Lilienfeld of EXP, as you adjust your camera? You have a very nice background, matter of fact. I just wanted to let you know that you've been working hard. The production value on your side is stupendous.
Thank you. I think one of the things Paul said that struck me is people have been waiting. First of all, it's been a very volatile market, as he said, and people keep on hearing rates going up, going down. They're sitting, they're waiting, but people are getting impatient because, and I do feel like in 2025, we're going to see more activity just because they're like, oh my goodness, they've been waiting for these rates to come down for a while. They're not coming down. Do what Paul says. Buy the house that you like, and then you can always readjust your rate in a year or two, or as he spoke about, when you get a 5-year ARM, since they're going to adjust. So maybe that is a good option. But I do think there's a lot of people that have been sitting and waiting. We're not seeing the prices really come down significantly, at least not at the shore, right? They are adjusting a little bit, but definitely go, what is that expression you always say?
Marry the house, date the rate.
Marry the house, date the rate, which means you could date different rates, but yeah, find the house that you love. And I do think people are getting antsy.
All right, Paul Scollage, any thoughts with mortgages? So what is the, maybe just to repeat it one more time, currently right now, maybe the Fed says in 2025, there might be maybe two rate cuts. And then what currently right now, I want to buy a place, what's the very best you can do? 30-year fix for somebody with excellent credit.
Yeah, and it really depends on what your loan to value is in some cases, or if you're buying second home or you're buying primary, but you're going to have a range of about 6.75 to about 7.25 in terms of where rates are. So, it's not the 8s that we've seen in the past, but it's still, rates that are elevated. But again, keep in mind that these rates have less competition. I just want to touch on one thing real quick and kind of get into a different subject, but, when you're buying a house and putting yourself in that position, there's what we call the do's and don'ts of the market, right? Don't go out and buy a new car. Don't go out and max out your credit cards. Don't go out and have your credit run to open up a new card. Don't make career moves, right? A lot of people think that, hey, I want to take a job, and, maybe that job right now, I'm a W-2 employee, and they're going to move to a 1099, which in turn would be self-employed. So, don't make a career move. Don't transfer a lot of money in and out of bank accounts. They're 3 or 4 of the big important things of do not to do. But most important, keep carrying all your bills. Keep your job secure. Keep things working. One of the things that we do, and I've gotten and I've heard and I've been in stories where we call your employer the day of closing to make sure that you're still employed, the day of closing. So keep in mind, I can't tell you in my career, people have quit their job the day before thinking, I already got the mortgage, I'm done, nothing's going to happen. We call the employer, Mr. Employer says, oh no, they parted ways yesterday. It's happened, it's real, it's live. So just keep in mind that a lot of times when you think that the industry is not going to find something out, they absolutely do. There's so many different.
That's crazy, man. You call to see whether the guy is still employed because that plays a major role. And then at times you pull back the loan because a breach of agreement of some sort.
It can't close. And think about this. Many union workers, okay, they get laid off all throughout the year, okay? They just think it's a standard procedure. Well, guess what? If you're not employed with your company the day of closing and you get laid off that day, this has happened several times, I can't close the loan until you're physically back at work. So, again, things have changed drastically. I mean, there's bank statement loans, which I was never a part of. Such an easy loan. Self-employed borrowers that have a lot of cash flow coming in, they just don't claim a lot. We look at your deposits coming in over a 12-month period. So the industry in getting people qualified has gotten a lot easier. However, the checks and balances are a lot more secure because, again, we don't want to get back into the 06, 07 crisis where if you had a heartbeat and you told me you made $100,000 a year, we just gave you a loan. So those days hopefully they are gone, but there's definitely some unique stuff out there. So I just wanted to add some points there.
That's awesome. That's really interesting stories that we haven't talked about before, but crazy. Any other thoughts before I have your outro? Because I have some outro music for you, Paul, that you may or may not want to hear.
I would like to hear the outro music. I love it. You guys will, crush it here on those subjects.
You can hang. You want to hang out for a little bit? You got to get going.
I want to hang out. I got a good 10 minutes here. Just going to listen to Sherry talk about all our good points. So,
master of finance in his prime, turning pennies into dime. Paul Z, my bro from rate.com, crunching numbers like a math bomb. Refi magic, he's got the knack, turning loans with a click clack.
Can I start dancing?
I love that. Crunching numbers like a.
That's what happens when you.
I love it.
That's what happens when you work with Down Beach Buzz. We create your own personal songs, and we can't say that we did the whole thing, but this little thing called AI, artificial intelligence, sort of helps out a little bit. And I could do goofy stuff. I could say, it's snowing here. in the Ventnor, Atlantic City area. Or I could say, these are microplastics floating through the air. They're going to poison me. And I can just go like this, and you can see that they're still not adhering to Sustainable Sherry's recommendation to make sure when you're sawing all this plastic stuff, it doesn't get into the air. Do you like that, Sherry?
I don't like to see that. That's not good. It's not healthy.
This could be cocaine, though, as well. It could be anything. It could be just toilet paper. It doesn't matter.
Or snow, the beautiful snow we had, which actually we haven't had snow in I think a number of years. So it was kind of nice to see it.
One and done down there for you guys.
All right. So let's want to move forward. And remember that big giant list I showed you, we're not going to touch, but I just threw it out there. We'll see which ones are most interesting. So let's go to the slide here. Did you know that they've been, go ahead, Cher.
No, I was saying since you started talking about microplastics.
I don't want, no.
Okay,
No,
fine. It was
because
on your list. We were talking about inspections and the building. Like that was one of the things on your list.
Yes, I know it woke you up. And if I talk about wind turbines, it'll wake you up. But let's hold off on that a little bit, because at the end of the day, Margate needs to get their act together and hire more construction officials and just do the the bare minimum. So, and Margate also needs to figure out, instead of building McMansions and knocking everything down, will they have to adhere to the New Jersey Affordable Housing Guidelines just released on December 1, 2024? This has been going on for a long time, decades, trying to figure out how to get more affordable housing throughout the state of New Jersey. So these are the requirements. And I think over the next 10 years, these towns have up to 10 years to accomplish this, building so many affordable houses to adhere to the Mount Laurel doctrine of something to that effect. Brigantine owes the state 19 affordable housing units. Ventnor owes the state 14. Margate 21. Where are they going to put that? And Longport owes the state 7 affordable housing units. Any thoughts, or just who knows?
It's going to be interesting. There was just a project, you and I were talking about this, I think yesterday. It was basically affordable housing. It was converted like motel. I think it had 10 units, but it was a big lot and got sold. And now there's going to be, high-end townhouses. Well, that would have been a great location to put in some affordable housing. So people need to understand affordable doesn't necessarily mean low income, but
you're talking about the property, the buy level. I think there's 10 units there, right there at the corner of Monmouth and Washington. There was some scuttlebutt saying the city could have purchased that lot, that opportunity to put a parking lot there. Some people thought it might be affordable housing already, but over the past few days, it's been announced that somebody now has officially gone to closing, and they are the owner of that corner, right, Cher?
Yeah, and they got approval for their 6 townhomes, I think 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. I mean, it's not really affordable housing, but it would have been a great location. Plus, in that part of town, by the restaurants, there's a lot more density, so it makes sense to have like the affordable housing units like in that area. There's already apartment complex there right off of Amherst.
So where are those 10 families going to go once they bulldoze the whole corner?
I don't know. When I drove by the other day, it was already vacant. Just saying.
Okay, so, they got them out. All right, let's keep moving here. But that's unfortunate in a way, in a big way. All right, how about revaluations? We love talking about revals, don't we, Cher? Is that popular?
Oh my goodness. So now when you go to the meetings, the commissioners' meetings, there's always, a couple of people that come up and really grill them on the budget, and why are taxes going up? I actually really don't understand it too much, given that the values have gone up, and they've gone up a lot more. I understand costs go up, salaries go up, expenses go up. But when the values of properties go up, you think then your tax base is going up, right? But I don't know. It's a big question. It's coming up a lot at the commissioners meeting. And I wish I did understand it a little more. But yeah, nobody likes it. Not a popular subject. And they don't
So
like
so you made your point, but the thing that you said, the most important part was, so the valuations go up, the total, the city worth. I think John Scott Abbott, the attorney, he said that the city of Margate was worth $7 billion in assessments or ratables, I should say. So they're boasting about all this new development, raising taxes, new assessments, because when you knock something down, you rebuild something with zero setback, you can charge more money in taxes. So how come the city of Margate still raised taxes? Same thing with Ventnor. Ventnor has all kinds of construction, but still raised taxes close to 5%, I think. So that's a good question that you bring up. So getting back to the revals, when was the last revaluation for Margate? That was back in 2018. I think these are fairly accurate numbers. Ventnor was either 2016 or 2017. Longport was 2018. Brigantine 2016. And Summers Point, I know for a fact, they do it every 5 years religiously, somebody told me. Last time they did it was 2019. So there is some discussion when I ask a lot of people about this. I go, who controls when to do a revaluation of a town? And a lot of people tell me Atlantic County. Some people tell me it's the state. Whatever the case may be, there's a lot of people that do not want a reval. And that's why I love bringing this video up. Let's go back to October 13, 2022. Our good friend, Mayor Lance Landgraf. He was not the mayor at this time. It was still Miss Beth Macchignano Holtzman. She was the mayor, and she's a background in finance. And she's kind of freaking out. When I show you this video, watch how Lance looks to the side and stares at Mayor Holtzman, because he knows it could be a shit show with financials, and he does not like talking about reval, but everybody should talk about it because it will affect your ability to afford to live down the shore. So let me zoom in and we'll go. I know you guys didn't see that, but here we go. Here we go.
The assessed values of the properties in Ventnor were $2,095,551,980. That's what they were assessed at. What they sold at was $2,530,859,879, an increase of $43,530,789, a 21% increase of what houses were assessed for compared to what they sold. That's great, but we have to be careful because of the ratio issue. We only went down 8 points. If you go down 10 points, the state can force you to do a reval.
You don't want to do that right now.
We don't want to do that. No. So that's great news. It's great for the homeowner selling, but we have to be careful because you're teetering on an issue where we don't want to have to do a reval that is mandated by the state because of the ratio.
So she keeps on saying, we got to be careful. How do you be careful? How do you be careful? They do not want to do this because they know it can be disruptive. But it is also, there is a reason behind revals. Paul and Sherry, what are your thoughts on revals? I know Sherry kind of went, ooh, totally understandable. But now we're getting to a point where it's coming. We just don't know when. What's the ups and the downs of a reval, especially in the real estate market?
I would say a reval, obviously, the fear of real estate taxes increasing would potentially impact the marketability of properties, right? So people are going to say, hey, I don't want to buy here. Now your taxes are up 15, 16%. I know it's a revenue generating stream probably for Ventnor and so forth, but obviously a reval is only going to drive up property taxes, I'm assuming, across the board.
My sense is that revals, 1/3 of the residents, 1/3 of the taxpayers pay a little bit more, 1/3 don't change at all, and 1/3 get it lessened. It's really an equalization, or it's to make it fairer. Is that true, Cher? I'm not an expert at this, but what do you think, Cher or Paul?
I don't know how it would be less, but I'm assuming every property value is increased. No one's decreased. So if your property value, assessed value is increased, it's going to drive up everyone. Someone might not be as impactful as others, but there might be some that stay the same, but there's definitely going to be more increases than not.
I thought that when a property is sold, that then they know the market value. She was talking a lot about the market value and assessed value and that ratio. That ratio she's talking about is like normally the assessed value is about 90 to 92% around here of the market value. And it was interesting to me that she said, if you're at that 10 point, and I'm assuming she meant if you're at 90% ratio to your market value to your assessed value, then the state can come in and force a reevaluation. But I thought that once a property sells, then you establish that market value so that within a year, those taxes are going to change. I always tell my clients, if it's assessed at something like 25% of what you're buying it at, you can expect those taxes are going to go up. Like that's a really important point as a realtor, that people understand that once you establish that market value, expect your taxes are going to go up with that ratio to the assessed value. So anyway, those are just my thoughts, and that because there's so many transactions at higher values, I think the tax revenue to the city is going up by those sales, by that adjustment of the sale properties, so that not everybody has to get a reevaluation. But I don't know, I could be wrong.
All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to rock and roll. Hey, thank you. What an unbelievable intro song. All right, let's get that thing going.
Master of finance in his prime, turning pennies into dime. Paul Z, my bro from rate.com, crunching numbers like a math bomb.
You got to send me this. Oh, this is great. This is great.
Well,
thank you guys.
Have to get that down.
I think
Paul. That
Jenna,
was awesome, man. It was fun.
your assistant's gonna love this because
You got to give me that. I love it.
Yeah,
it's going to be up. Hey, guys, have a great day. All right.
All right, Paul, very good. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. See ya.
All right. All right, sure.
all right.
Let me just finish up on that reval thing. It's of great interest to me because I went back to October 2022 with the headline on DownbeachBUZZ, and let me always remember to bring this up. October 2022, a story by DownbeachBUZZ. It says Ventnor teeters on real estate revaluation. On October 13, Ventnor commissioners and the mayor addressed a particular peril of a crazy real estate market. If prices get too out of whack, it could trigger a state-mandated reval for all Ventnor properties. At that point in time, the assessed value of properties in Ventnor was 2.9. What number is that, Cher? I can't count that high, but they were making a reference that it's 2.95, but the sold value is 2.5, and that ratio or that difference, basically, Mayor Holtzman said it was up 21%, an increase in rateables, I guess, of $43 million. It's a touchy subject, but I do think, Cher, we talk about it a lot. A lot of people find value in buying homes down the shore because they retain their value almost better and stronger than any other marketplace. And that's why I mentioned that concept of zombie properties. There is some smarts and some good idea here to just buy up shore properties, even if you don't want to rent them out, even if you don't want to live in them. It's a great store of value. And the downside is it's a zombie property, pays its taxes, and the city likes that. But those are houses that people could live in year round, and that would certainly benefit local businesses who desperately need year-round customers as well as employees. So does that kind of make sense? You always hear me talking about that because I live here full time, and I do wish we had a more robust year-round residency every year for the past 10 years. It's getting tougher in the off season. So, Cher.
I agree with everything you said. That assessed value, there's something wrong there. There's a number missing or too many commas. That's why you couldn't read it. The assessed value. I see what you're saying. Yeah, 2.95 billion. So anyway, in terms of the zombie properties, you're right. Look, I work with a lot of investors, with commercial stuff, and people with high net worth, wherever they got their high net worth, whatever business, they always have part of their portfolio real estate as an investment. That is part of their portfolio. You always hear diversify your portfolio. Well, they always invest in real estate in some form or another. And that is why you will see those quote unquote zombie properties. And you are 100% right about maintaining their value. If you look at shore property, it's very different. Like when markets kind of crash, those are like first time, those are primary resident markets, but not second home markets. They don't really crash. They'll go down a little bit, like maybe, 8% max, but they won't crash like a house in Detroit, when the auto industry crashed and people needed jobs. So it is a good place to invest your money. But the other beauty about it, it's an investment that you can use, right? It's a great place to put your money that gives you a lot of utility value that you will use and bring your family to. So it is a really good investment like that.
It gets tougher to use taxpayer dollars on school systems, especially 2 schools like Margate has. So there is pressure over time when there's less full-timers. There are those who say, why do we still have 2 schools with the population of kids getting smaller and smaller every year? So that's one issue we hear talked about on occasion, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I moved to Margate in 2002, I have 4 kids that I brought into the school system, but there were 3 schools. There was the Union Avenue School, there was the Thai School, and there was the Granville Avenue School. And now, as you know, in recent years, they combine them. Union Avenue School is now where Margate City has their offices. So they're slowly combining the schools and eliminating the schools in the space. That's all.
I like that.
That's all.
All right. So, but out of all these, and you don't have to talk about any of them, what stuff here, what I'm showing you, Reval, Baglivo 6 or 12, subdividing St. Leonard's Tract, a master plan, who's in charge of it? Will it just all of a sudden emerge sometime in the future? Short-term rentals, the Zoom ban is still going on. I tried to watch the Ventnor Planning Board last night as they discussed subdividing 2 different properties in the St. Leonard's Tract, which is trying to protect the deeds that they protected, that they hold dear to their heart. They do not want their plots of land in St. Leonard's Tract to be sliced up. And then I asked, hey, where's the link to the Zoom, or at least listen to the audio of the planning board last night? And I was told the planning board does not allow that. What's up with that? And of course, the people who run the planning board who made that decision would be Lance Landgraf and Tim Kriebel, the mayor, both mayors at one time. Of course, Kriebel, the mayor right now. So that's very disappointing. Jay Cook probably should step up, because Jay Cook is the chairman of the Ventnor Planning Board. Good guy. But Mr. Landgraf does not want us to watch planning board meetings. He doesn't like us to watch CRDA meetings either. Lance works at the CRDA, and you can't watch CRDA meetings either. I wonder why. The Zoom ban, the zombie homes, affordable housing, fines, inspections, the beach party deck, gas station update. What are your thoughts, Cher? I know that we don't know a lot, but your thoughts on why Mr. Collins, the mayor of Margate's father, Tom, why did he step down fairly quick from the planning board? And Jimmy Galantino, we thought he was retiring, but he's not. What can you say? What do you know as a realtor? What does the real estate world know about those 2 guys?
Yeah, I can't really say. I can tell you that Jimmy Galantino, he was great. He was a great inspector. He was very responsive. As a realtor, I have the office number. I can email him. I had his cell number. I miss having him. I don't know what happened. Whatever the reason is, their city's pretty quiet about it. And I don't really know anything about Tom Collins and why he stepped down. Honestly, it's a thankless job, and maybe he just got tired of it. Not a job I would want, because as you know, there's a lot of criticism about the planning board and what they're approving and not approving. So on your list, we were talking about, you had on there the master plan in St. Leonard's Tract. So just a couple of comments. Like, first of all, master plan is so important, and it's good that the cities are looking at coming up with a new master plan. But why they would decide on subdividing St. Leonard's Tract before that new master plan is finalized, because that would go in line with the whole master plan. And that whole thing makes me really sad. The St. Leonard's tract has a lot of history, beautiful old houses. I personally, so Zach and I, early on in our marriage, we would buy properties and renovate them. We would knock them down. We would maintain their character and do the fix and flip, not the tear down and rebuild. And you just can't get houses like that anymore. St. Leonard's tract is so beautiful. That makes me really sad. I really love to know what happened at that meeting and how that's going to fit in with the master plan.
So are you disappointed that the city of Ventnor didn't allow me last night to listen through audio? They even blocked that. That's a pretty big,
there's why, like, you have to ask yourself why, like, why wouldn't you be allowed to? Why isn't there that transparency? Why?
They don't want people to know that, once again, they're looking to slice and dice St. Leonard's tract. It's purely, it's not about technology. It's not about money. They don't want you to keep up with this stuff. And, I don't care what they say, but, Brigantine is really bad at this. Margate's bad at it, and Ventnor's bad at it. They don't want you to know what's going on. If you were in charge, would you want a bunch of second homeowners that can't vote to be up your you-know-what, looking at every move you make? Of course not. Anyway, Cher, let's move on, because that gets my blood boiling, because I could not believe I couldn't listen to the planning board at Ventnor last night, just because. And it's a big, big meeting. It's about St. Leonard's tract, and people are trying to whack up make it more dense, which is a bad thing. So it's the DownbeachBUZZ podcast with Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty and Paul Scollage of Rate.com. We do get an awful lot of incoming emails. I'll read this for you, Sherry. You ready? It's all about you and Lana. I love Lana. This came from our good friend, Phil. He says, I love Lana and her determination to get the Margate government meetings on Zoom video with remote public comment. Perhaps you can have Lana get in touch with Jim Pakinowski. He handles Ventnor Zoom meetings, and Jim is very, very good. In addition to Stone Harbor doing a good job with Zoom video of council meetings and commission meetings, Wildwood Crest and Avalon have Zoom meetings with remote public comment. Did you know that, Cher? Quite frankly, I didn't know it, but the more I find out about it, most shore towns do a full-blown live Zoom video, real-time public comment, and then up on YouTube so you can watch it just in case you missed it. So I think it's the noose is tightening for those mayors who are trying to drag their feet with being, not being kind of opaque and making it difficult for second homeowners, taxpayers to follow how the tax dollars are being spent. Were you aware of that, Cher? Wildwood Crest does a better job than Margate and Ventnor?
That's that's very interesting. I will tell you, like, I know, like, down in Florida, again, that's another second home market a lot. And they've had most of those condo associations down there have their meetings on Zoom for comment before the pandemic. And to say, oh, well, we don't have the technology, we need an IT person. You can hire a high school kid to figure this out. I mean, come on, it's not rocket science. And how many people figured out how to talk on Zoom and these type of things, just to correspond with their family. So
let me ask you this question. When you want to go watch a Margate commissioners meeting and you click the link, what do you see? I
don't click the link because I actually go to the meeting.
All right. Well, the answer is you see nothing. It's a blank screen. So that's a fact.
Can you hear? But can you hear what's going on?
Well, from what I'm told, you have to request a link. That is true. You have to request a link in order to listen. I find that to be problematic. So Margate doesn't even allow you to click a public link. You literally have to Oprah request the link to listen to a Margate meeting. Put some thought in. Think about that extra hurdle that Mayor Collins, really, it's Mayor Collins calling that shot. He's the boss. He's the CEO of Margate. He has a blank screen that you can't even watch how your money's being spent and how big decisions are being made. Number two, you can't even just go up to the website and click on a link. You have to request the link. That's a problem. Let's take a look at Avalon. I think this is Avalon. Why can't Margate and Ventnor and Brigantine do this? Watch this, Cheryl. Where is it? Come on, here we go.
Move this back down. I'd like to call to order today's council meeting, Wednesday, December 18th, 2024 at 4 p.m. We'll start with the pledge.
For authorization to continue to improve the 8th Street Sports Complex. New Jersey DCA has reopened their LRIG program.
You understand why water supply will be a high priority for the borough in not only the 2025 budget year, but in budget years moving forward.
So let's stop there. Take a look at that quality. Listen to the audio quality. Look at the video quality and listen. Maybe you probably didn't pick up on it, but they're talking about a contaminated water issue down there along and near Avalon. This is really important stuff. Take a look at that picture. Why can't this happen in Margate and Brigantine? There's a reason. They want to keep you in the dark. No, I don't care about we can't find anybody. It's as simple as doing shared services. And I'm telling you, I don't care how nice they are, but you got to hold the new business admin, whatever his name is. He's not in charge. It's the mayor. He's in charge. Landgraf, Collins, and then Sarah. These guys can say yes or no to anything. But when I show you these videos, this is proof that you're being hosed as second homeowners. And even, full-time residents, you can't make it to the meeting. You're home with the kids. You're still at work and you can't follow along. Last night with the Ventnor Planning Board, not allowing me to listen to them discussing whether or not to whack up and subdivide St. Leonard's Tract. Think about that. That's like a big giant, hey, read between the lines kind of a thing. If you get my little joke there, Sherry Lilienfeld. So what, you like this video? What can you do? I mean, we know that you will say, well, listen, Mayor Sarah and Mr. Collins, they're working on it. They're finding tough time to find IT. I'm telling you, by the summertime, you still will not have this kind of video in Margate. Your thoughts? Change my mind on that, Miss Lilienfeld. Say something nice about Mayor Collins, because I know that's how we try to do this.
No, I think you're 100% correct. I'm very curious about something. You have to Oprah request even the audio link. If they have that audio link, why aren't they at least just putting it on the website? Why do they even make it so difficult? You happen to know to do this. Most people don't know. They're going to go on a website. They're going to look, when's the meeting? What's the agenda? How do I watch the meeting? That's what most people are going to do. They're not going to think to Oprah request the city clerk. That is ridiculous. They have the link, at least for the audio, at least put it on the website before the meeting. That's my feeling. But yes, this is great. There should be great audio. There should be great video, and people should be able to comment. If you look at that room, that's a really important meeting, but because they can watch it and comment, that room is pretty empty, because there's probably a lot of people on Zoom. Okay, you got my opinion.
Well, I'm just hitting the nail on the head over and over again. This video and this audio is so good. You can see public comment. You can see the faces of them up on the dais. The leaders, the department heads are right there in the middle.
Okay, well, here's my other thought point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lana has been amazing, and she's a pit bull.
So what I want you to do is I want you to describe who Lana is. Yes.
Lana started in the summertime in July talking about live Zoom meetings where people can participate. Her point was, the snowbirds are going to be leaving. Like, let's get this done. Okay, we're January now. Nothing is done yet. She has been amazing. She's been relentless. She has done research. She has given them leads. She said, go to this person. You can get it done. Here's an estimate. Like, really, really thorough and persistent. But more people, especially people who are still here, should come to the meetings and also concur and support what she's doing. In addition, people should write emails to the commissioners and the mayor and the business administrator, because those emails are public record. So if you think this is important, you should inundate the city with your request and your feeling of discontent that it's not done. So even if you're not local, can't come to the meeting, write an email. You can find their email addresses on the website. That you can find, and it becomes public record, and they need to respond. So my 2 cents.
Yeah, if there is just one thing that can have the greatest amount of impact to keep people more engaged and for leadership in these Jersey Shore towns to be transparent, not just talk about it, but actually be transparent. I mean, my good friends down in Cape May, the Cape May County Herald, they've been doing stories on this for months and months and months about how the Cape May commissioners claim there's more than enough transparency. But, on one side, Len Desiderio, the mayor of Sea Isle City, is also a Cape May County commissioner. He believes there's enough transparency. On the other hand, Mr. Morey, yes, that guy, the Wildwood Amusement Morey in Wildwood, he's a commissioner in Cape May County. He goes, no, we should have full transparency. So I'm very disappointed at the mayor of Sea Isle City, Len Desiderio. Love his town, but he's the kind of guy who doesn't want you to know how all those dollars are being spent. Whereas Mr. Morey down in Wildwood, he goes, full transparency, open her up. Why not? It's better for everybody. So this is happening everywhere. And I'm telling you, Cher, we're probably a little early on this because it's tough to be a pioneer. You get a lot of the arrows in the back. But where's the press of Atlantic City? Where's the other players talking about the lack of transparency? We're talking about YouTube here and equipment that you could buy at Amazon. And it's simple. Why not do a shared services thing with other shore towns? But I think what you said earlier is the best. If you can make it live, be there in person for public comment, by all means, do that. That's so valuable. But unfortunately, not everybody can do that. And that is why it's amazing. It's astonishing that we're not demanding that the leaders that you pay taxes to, they won't do the very simple thing of being more transparent by turning cameras on so people can watch and engage with municipal meetings.
Well, again, people can write emails and let their voices be heard that way if they can come to the meetings. I do have to get off in about 10 minutes, just letting you know. That's my 10-minute warning.
We're done. That's but when you give me the sign, I will do your outro music. Sherry Lilienfeld of EXP on the DownbeachBUZZ podcast. You want to say goodbye? How can people reach you, Sherry Lilienfeld, the super duper realtor to the stars?
realtysherry@gmail.com. Sherry is SHERRI. realtysherry.com. The realtor to the stars. Okay.
Her name is Sherry, super real estate pro. Sherry, super duper realtor to the stars, real estate pro. My name is Sherry, super real estate pro. Sherry.